Hello, good morning everyone. I hope you guys have a nice day. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ulfadri Prastiwi. I'm student teacher from Marjubuana Yogyakarta University. This week we will learn about capitalization and punctuation. Okay, so before we start to learn about capitalization and punctuation, do you guys know what is capitalization and punctuation? So, have you ever write a story like narrative or recount or short essay? If yes, you must know what is capitalization and punctuation. And now I will tell you more detail about what is capitalization and punctuation. Okay, now let's begin. Writing elements, capitalization and punctuation. What is capitalization? Look at the PPT. In writing, capitalization is the use of capital letters as a type of punctuation. So, capitalization is part of punctuation. When we say that something is capitalized, it means that the first letter of the word or words is a capital, that is capital A versus lowercase a. Capitalization real goals is to point out and separate specific individual things from general things, which help us to identify them in a sentence. So, we use capitalization to mark the beginning of a sentence and to identify all of proper nouns, names, and titles. Okay, next. Now it's type of capitalization. Number 1 is to begin a sentence. The first rule of capitalization, this is easy. We always begin a sentence with capitals letter. Oh, I visited Paris last year. In this example is capital letters. Or if it's the first letter of words like this, last spring I visited Paris. So it's not only I or you, she, but first letter of a word also possible, like last spring I visited Paris. Number 2, proper nouns. A proper noun is a person, a place, thing, or idea with specific unique name. You can search example from the internet. There's many, or you already know the right example for these proper nouns. Like I give you an example for explanation about proper nouns. When we use I to identify ourselves in writing, it is always capital. And we always capitals the first, middle, and last name of people, like Jane and Smith. And there's many things that you need to know about proper nouns. Number 2, titles. Every Thursday I watch the series The Walking Dead. So the title is The Walking Dead, and the capital letters must be on T, W, and D. Or another example, I just read the book Pride, Prejudice, and Zombie. So the capital letters in this one is P for Pride, P for Prejudice, and in the beginning of and is still lowercase because it's not important. We choose the important one. That's for the titles. And number 4, capitalization for emphasis. Sometimes we use capitalization to highlight an important words, phrase, even full sentence. Like you see on many signs like do not enter, stop, be aware of dog. Next, capitalization in dialogue. The example, seeing the other car approaching ice cream. Watch out! Capitalization can also be a particular useful technique of dialogue. It can add fear, volume, intensity, urgency, and excitement. That's the types of capitalization, 5 types of capitalization. And now we move to tips and tricks how to avoid mistakes. As you can see, when it comes to names, don't use capital letters for general and common things. For example, fast food restaurant usually sell hamburgers. Fast food restaurant is a general things or common things, so don't use capital letters. Yeah. Here I give you correct example. I'm going to New York City this weekend. New York City, the capital letter is N, Y, and C. That's correct. Number 2, don't capitalize the unless it is an official part of title. I give you example of the incorrect or mistake that always happen to us. Last summer, I visited the Empire State Building. That's incorrect if you use capital letters of THE. The correct example is the Giving Tree. The little girl's favorite book is The Giving Tree because that is title of a book. When using the name of a place, all of the words in the name need to be capitalized, not just the first word. For example, I can't wait to visit Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is a title of place, so don't just use capital letters of Niagara, but falls also need to be start with capitalized letter. Okay, you only need to capitalize the important meaning words which you can see from this book titles. For example, James and the Giant Peach. You just need to capitalize the James and Giant Peach, and the is still lowercase because that's not important. The important one is James and Giant and Peach. That's it. Don't forget, if it's a name or a title, capitalize it. Don't forget. Okay, now let's move to punctuation. What is punctuation? Punctuation is the collection of marks that we use to make sentence flow smoothly and express meaning clearly. It tells us when to pause or to add certain feelings to our words. It separates ideas so that sentences are clear. It points out titles, quotes, and other parts of language. Originally, punctuation was only a tool of speech, not writing, but writers developed it so that people would know when to pause and stop and or make other expressions when when they are speaking. Types of punctuation. Number one is capitalization. So we already talked about capitalization. So capitalization is when you use the capital letter or capital form of a letter. A, big A versus lowercase a. We will skip this because we already discussed about capitalization. And number two is and marks, kinds of like period, exclamation mark, question mark, ellipsis, and comma. So the period, it means stop. Exclamation mark, it is to add strong feelings like joy or fear to a sentence. To say something with excitement, it exclaims, right? For example, I give you example. The fox was faster than the wind! Exclamation mark. Question mark. A question mark is used at the end of every question. It is only ever used to show that a sentence is a question. For example, how fast was the fox? Or ellipsis. An ellipsis or plural ellipsis like dot dot dot, like in the present the PPT, is a to be continued moment at the end of a sentence, like the fox waited to be continued. Next is comma. A comma tells the reader when to pause sentence. Most importantly, commas help make things clear in a sentence. For example, the fox ran, comma, and then he drank some water. We also use them for listing things like, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For number 3, apostrophe is tanda petik. Apostrophe does two important things. First, we use to show possessions. The fox coat was orange. And second, we use it for contractions. For example, you are into your. Next is quotation. Quotations is to quote someone exact words and to show that a character is speaking or dialogue. Show that the author is using slang, and usually for titles of poems, articles, song names, and brand names of things. The next is colons and semicolons. I will give you an example. Colons and semicolons. The writer is about to give a list. Or you can colon may also separate two sentences. Like for example, the fox was great at hiding. Colons, a human had never seen him. So for the semicolons can connect two independent clauses that are related to each other. For example, the fox liked pancakes. He ate them every day for breakfast. It's connect two independent clauses that are still related to each other. Parenthesis dalam kurung hold additional information that authors want to use as an aside. For example, the fox loved pancakes. Parenthesis dalam kurung, he ate them every morning, comma, and he had a great recipe for them. Now we move to how to use and not use punctuation. I will give you guys time to read the example A, B, and C. Let's talk about the example. Letter A has a different meaning than letters B and C. Letter A, has a negative meaning. Expressing that Jill regrets being in love with Jack. In letters B and C, however, Jill express an apology to Jack and then tell him she loves him. Dear Jack, I'm sorry, I love you. From Jill. So you can see how much a simple comma can affect a sentence meaning. When we are speaking every day, it's easy to change our voice and emphasize different words so that our meaning is clear. But in writing, you need to mark the places where those changes should happen. I give you another example. Without proper
punctuation,
and with proper,
punctuation,
read by yourself and find the difference without proper punctuations and
punctuation,
with proper punctuation.
punctuation,
So you can see, like you can see in all of the example, forgetting to use punctuation or using the wrong marks at the wrong time can make a sentence confusing or even completely change its meaning. I have exercise for you to write at home. Exercise, find and analyze the function and capitalization. Now I will give you example. The first sentence. For many years, I have been interested in study international relations. So the first letters of the first sentence is capital F. F is capital and I is capital. I have been, I is capital. And second sentence, my interest in pursuing this field stems from several factors which have affected me. So the second sentence, my, for first letter M, it should be capitalized, capital letters. Okay, so you can find and analyze the rest, and you can collect it next week along with another assignment that I will give you. This assignment, make an essay about a social problem that happened recently. Pay attention to the capitalization and punctuation and other writing elements. Write it with a minimum of 600 words and collect your assignment next week. You can write about COVID, Black Lives Matters, BLM, or Papua itself, our own social problem. Be creative and be original. I will waiting for your assignment next week. Thank you.